Hi, this is Scott Shaw Law Firm. This video is about unmarried dads who are not legitimated. And if that is you, you're probably in a very frustrating spot at this point in time. This video is about there is hope. You can win custody of your child in Georgia courts. The picture there is a pamphlet I drafted up about 15 years ago called Who Gave Her the Right? And I drafted that when I first started out my career because I kept seeing the same fact patterns over and over again and the same injustices happening, and it just didn't seem fair. Mom would take the kids, move out, tell dad he can have every other weekend, maybe 2 weeks in the summer, pay me child support, and that's just the way it was going to be. Dad would concede more often than not, and dads that did fight back would usually end up not getting much help from the court. I just found it an appalling set of circumstances, so I decided to make it my career to fight back and to make things fair. Who we are Atlanta, Georgia child custody attorneys, and I bring this up because I'm often asked, why should I listen to you? Well, the reason being, we know what we're talking about. We've been representing parents in child custody cases since 1995, and we've become very good at it. The reality is, unmarried fathers who are not legitimated often have a very tough time, and it is completely frustrating. Hopefully the mother of your child isn't like the women in these pictures here, but more often than not, they turn out to be. An unmarried father without a child custody order and is not legitimated ends up with a beck and call and too often the terror of their baby mother. You may know what I speak of. I have a current case where dad was put in jail for 5 days. And after we got done trying the case, the judge turned around and told mom, if anybody committed a crime, it was you. We couldn't get any justice back for those 5 days taken from him, but we were sure going to try to get custody of his child for him. In any event, if this is what the mother of your case is like, this is what the rest of your child's childhood is going to be like. She's not going to get any better. But we can get help from a court with a parenting plan and all the way up to primary physical custody of the child. And let's reiterate again, because we have to remember this. It is not fair. She does have all the advantages. She does. But you know what? We can still win. And people sometimes don't believe me. And so I have to give more stories. In this particular presentation, we've been very busy in the last couple of months. In the last 2 months, we've won custody for dads of young children in 4 different counties. I'm not going to go through all the details. You can read a few in these slides here because they're boring. One case, mom ran off to Nevada, Las Vegas. She wouldn't come back. This particular mom had some drug and alcohol issues, but she was completely within her rights because dad was not legitimated. It was a long story how we won the case, but dad got primary custody. We did have to get this kid back to Georgia first to make that happen, and call us if you want to talk about it. Cases in Jones County, Georgia, Gwinnett County, Georgia, Polk County, Georgia. They all had their own particular facts, but what they all shared was a mother who was abusive towards the father, totally overbearing, totally considering herself to be a victim, and a dad in each of these cases who was just desperate just to be a dad in their case. They just didn't care if it was a visitation, if it was custody. But no matter what, the way mom acted, we had no choice. So we went for full custody. Jones County, Gwinnett County, Polk County, we won primary custody of young children for their dads. And you know what? These cases have things in common. I've been doing this since 1995. And I see this fact pattern come up over and over again. And it's very frustrating. It's very heartbreaking. What we have to do when we represent fathers in these sort of fact patterns with women like this, it's the first thing to do is we have to start from zero. In each case, we start with practically nothing, and we're up against a very involved yet overbearing, dominating mother who is nothing but scorn for the father. We have to accept that. This woman is not going to change, so stop it. Stop trying to get her to change. It ain't going to happen. We have to take the case piece by piece. We have to show each client it's not a quick fix. You're going to have patience. We need to take the case apart and build it carefully, step by step. Baby steps sometimes are necessary, piece by piece, to set up this case for bigger things in the future. We need to focus on communication. We have to teach our dads how to communicate with these abusive mothers. I don't care how justified you are. Every negative and aggressive thing you say will be used against you and will be used as equivocation against all the horrible things she's saying back to you. It doesn't pay to get in a verbal spat with her. Instead, let mom rant and rave and hang herself. We teach our unmarried fathers how to politely and concisely and articulately request legitimate things. Then we allow mom to look bad, our client respectful, our client desperate just to see their child, mom angry and ugly. There is no satisfaction in a verbal spat. You're not going to win the argument. The argument's not going to do anything but make you look bad in front of the judge. So let's use these arguments against her. Fourth thing we have to do is we have to fight to make sure our dad gets involved in their child's life. We have to push hard, jump through hoops sometimes. Sometimes we have to. It may not be necessary, maybe it's not be silly, but we have to do it. You have to remember you're doing this for your child's best interest and to do the best we can in final trial. So again, baby steps. Get dad involved in child's life. So by the time we get to the final trial, mom can't say, dad doesn't know how to take care of this child. There's no bond there, because that would be a bunch of crap, and that'll just be consistent with mom's characteristic behavior of being horrible to dad. So we use mom's anger and her claims of emotional abuse, usually it is by dad against her, occasional physical abuse, but usually no specifics. And then we take the 17 elements under Georgia law that comprise the best interest of the child. And one by one, we build up the facts as to why dad is the least equal, if not better parent in each element. And the gist of it often just comes down to, it is not in a child's best interest to be in the care and custody of someone who is so angry and who so little respects the child's father or the role a father plays in the child's life. So use her anger and personal disorders that often exist with her against her. We use perspective. In each of these cases, mom refuses to co-parent and considers herself a victim while trying to portray herself as such a wonderful person. We shift focus to show that mom was using the child as a weapon against dad. This happens far too often. You see these repeated fact patterns. Mom weaponizes the child and acts cruelly towards dad. All dad wants to do is be a good father, and mom victimizes and abuses dad and uses the child as a source of power and control. The mothers are verbally abusive, passive aggressive, self-aggrandizing, hypocritical, and go out of the way to non-co-parent. They blame dad for all their problems, both related and unrelated to the child. Well, sometimes, amazingly, it doesn't happen in every case, but it happens enough, they'll actually flirt back with dad all the time. We had one case where mom actually asked dad to be a surrogate sperm donor because he was such a great dad. Well, at the next moment, saying what an evil, awful person he is in the court case. There is no sense to it, no rationality, don't expect any. Often, sometimes in cases like this, dad has a new significant other, and that is what causes the mother's behavior towards dad to change. Not always, but that's a frequent circumstance. It is a horrible position to be in. It's heartbreaking, but one that unmarried fathers in the state of Georgia too often find themselves in. So you have to persevere and win. In fact, patterns like this sound familiar to you, you are not alone. Cases like this can be won. These are some of the hardest cases of all to win, and you need an experienced attorney if you're going to win a case like this. It will take a fight. There are no guarantees, but yeah, it happens. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us. We've been representing parents in child custody cases since 1995. This is what we do. There's our contact information, and we would be glad to hear from you. Thank you.